Well, welcome back. You all look fantastic. Welcome to Popcorn and Beers. We're here with Josh, Jordan, and Liz is back. Some of you saw her last week on Gorp. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But as usual, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs, we use the stuff that gets you drunk. This one is from my hotel in Italy where I just was. Those of you that follow the Sad Fan on Instagram know. This is Baroni.
I love Baroni. It's so good.
We're going to start off where we usually start off with what we were watching. I'd like, again, to say thank you to Liz. I'm happy we give you a platform to promote Let's Hablar and Let's Hablar Solita. Welcome back. Give them a quick 30-second, 60-second breakdown on the shows, and let's get into what you're watching.
Okay, so Let's Hablar is going to be talking about the end of Queer Love Ultimatum this next coming week. So we post twice a month because of a mommy on our crew.
So you saw Natasha. You finally saw the episode with Natasha.
Yes, we did. I like Natasha. She was talking some real truths, and I know that her friends didn't like it, but whatever. You got to take it with a grain of salt if you don't like it. But definitely liked I pegged everything. I knew everything was going to happen the way it happened. I didn't think any of them were going to stay together, but tune into Let's Hablar so that way you can hear my full review. Just gonna say, don't like Vanessa, don't like Yoli on that show. Don't like neither of them. Let's Hablar Solita is going to be releasing on the 17th, a episode about football, Raiders, silver and black to be specific.
Oh boy.
Josh Jacobs is franchise tag. He needs to just go ahead and get it. The don't trade Hunter Renfrow and Brady stay away from my silver and black. Pretty much that's going to be the spiel.
Well, he owns them, so.
I want him to go away. I want him to be retired and just go away. But, I mean, you can't make decisions in football. No one can. It's a business. That's what we'll be discussing this next coming 2 weeks.
Perfect. And what entertainment are you going to give the audience to chew on here?
I really liked Siren. It's on Hulu. I like mermaids. I've always loved mermaids, but I thought this was going to be a completely different. Yeah. It's not your typical mermaid show, though, because I thought it was going to be like Tom Hanks kind of mermaid, but it's not. They're more so like predators. They're more of like I could describe it as like the Pirates of the Caribbean type of mermaids, how they go over there and they act all sweet and then they just drag you into the water and do whatever. So when they come out of the water, they do get the 2 legs like humans, but they're just not, they don't really talk. It takes a while for them to kind of learn how to speak, and certain things are uncommon to them. So I really liked that aspect.
Let me guess, they're all attractive.
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. One of them actually kind of does look like a fish to me, but that's just my opinion. He does look like very hammerhead shark, because his eyes are a little bit too far apart, but that's just me. Xavier. He's my favorite. And he's the son of like a fisherman. And he and his crew were on a boat when they weren't supposed to go get fish and shrimp and stuff. And they see a mermaid. And the mermaid attacks his friend. And then the government comes and kidnaps their friend and the mermaid. So they're trying to find him. My favorite part is, I think it's episode 4. He gets into his roommate's room, and the roommate's about to be very intimate with his girlfriend. He goes, "Get out of here, Janine. We got important stuff to go on." She's like, "You get out of here." He's like, "It's my apartment. You get out." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. You interrupted your roommate. That's not, no. Just get out of the room."
I love that you said intimate moment.
Mermaid style.
He was about to get some, basically.
Right, what happens there if it gets too... Never mind, I'm taking it too far.
Well, you've seen The Shape of Water, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh my. One of Michael Shannon's best performances, though, for sure. But anyway, so with the Siren, you're the first season in, or this, it's the Siren series. What do you give it so far? Just so the audience knows, let me reintroduce you. Our rating system is popcorn is the minimum rating, and then we go up to 3 beers. So like someone give it a movie 4 stars, we give it a popcorn 1, popcorn 2, popcorn 3. right? So, Liz, what'd you think?
So, a popcorn and one beer. I would give it 2, but I want to see what episode 10 is like before I do that. Because if they end it stupid, I'm not going to give it 2. It's just if they end it on a really shitty note, I'm not going to give it 2. But that's popcorn and a beer would be okay.
Okay, and what was next? You were on the show kick this week, it looks like.
Yeah, TV.
Godless was the next one that I watched again. It's more like a rewatch. I love horses and I like westerns, but I feel like you guys mentioned it before, Netflix doesn't have a whole lot of really good westerns, but that's one that I really did enjoy. I like the connection with the animals. I think that's what got me in the scenery.
Yeah.
I will say the little boy, the native boy, I don't think he was the best actor, but he did okay considering that he's supposed to be kind of awkward. That girl, I think she's German or something, that she's in the town and she's kind of like kept by herself and she's hiding that guy in her little like shed with like the other town's women, because for those who haven't seen it, there's no men in that town. There's pretty much none except for the sheriff, deputy, and then the stranger who ends up coming to get help because he's injured, but he's actually an outlaw that's running from the rest of this outlaw crew.
Like it's all women except for everyone of authority, the sheriff, the mayor.
Wow, what great job, Jordan! Great job. I wasn't even thinking that. Great call out. I love that. That was fantastic. Very short-sighted by the film team. I love it.
I think that was probably intentional.
When you look at it, his sister has way more authority than he does anyway, because she's like wearing pants. He's like, "What the hell are you doing wearing pants?" And she's like.
So were you talking about Mary or Alice?
I think it was Mary, right? That's his no, it's Alice.
Alice is Michelle Dockery and Mary is Merritt Weaver.
Okay. No, so it is Mary.
Okay.
She's the one that was wearing pants and he was like, "What are you doing wearing pants?" She's like, "I'm not gonna wear a skirt for what?" But I really like that one. That one I do.
It's great
because of the scenery, the animals, the funny I really, really like it. I would give it a popcorn and 2. I got a chuckle when Jack O'Connell shot that one guy. He's like, "What was that for?" He goes, "On account of I'm so damn mean." That part really got me. That made me think of my dad. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. That does not, no. But popcorn and 2 for that one.
Pop and 2.
That's good.
And then Will Trent was the next one. That's a series on Hulu. Ooh. I think it's also on regular TV. But I stream it off Hulu.
Regular TV. God, I'm old.
So Will Trent, he's a dyslexic police officer in like a special division. No one knows that he can't read because he's dyslexic. He talks into a tape recorder and he seems like a narcissist, but he's really not. He's just kind of OCD. So he looks at the whole situation, is able to kind of detect who's the culprit or not just by looking at the scene. So they have him come to a lot of different investigations, even though his division doesn't really work those. It got me in the beginning when he unintentionally adopted a dog that's elderly, and it's a little chihuahua, which he didn't want to do, but then he didn't want to leave it at a kill shelter either, so he took it with him. Now the dog's on a special diet. She has special food that she eats. Her name's Betty. She has a babysitter, and she has her own Instagram, and he was very against her having her own Instagram. I thought that was really funny. He grew up in the foster system, so that kind of hit home because I know a lot of people who did grow up in the foster kid system and how hard that was. I would give it a popcorn and a beer for those who don't like those type of shows where he's supposedly like the attractive cop, but he's still a cop. I would give it a popcorn and a beer.
We don't judge people's looks here, Liz.
I agree with that, though. I'd say the same thing. I haven't seen the whole season or whatever, but I've seen enough to get a good handle on the show. And it's, it's formulaic. Like there's a Matlock and however many million other shows like this have happened, but it has its own way of telling the story. And the characters are, likable. And he's got a really cool accent because he's from New Orleans. So it's not like the type of Cajun you would expect. It's just a really interesting accent. And it sounds legit, but I don't really know that type of accent well enough to know if he's doing a great job. It just sounds real. So
you want a backstory on it?
Tell me.
His accent is not really supposed to be, he's not Southern because he's from New York. That actor is actually born and raised in New York.
Oh.
And if you remember this is probably going to be on topic. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. He played Leo Spitz. Yeah.
Okay.
And now he's trying to get that Louisiana accent, but it's just not fully there. So that's why it sounds a little different.
Every time I think of Louisiana accent, I think of remember the time of Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, that's the kind of. There's like 3 or 4 different kind of Louisiana accents, and the one I'm used to is kind of more like Dallas. Really, kind of talk like this, but then you get down into the South and the Bayou, and then people talking like that. But that's more of like a aristocratic type of accent that he's trying to pull off, and I think it sounds believable only because maybe I don't really know that I wasn't raised around that, so I'm not sure, but it sounds good.
My last one is, it's kind of like, I feel like the better version of Cops, because Cops is on replay all the time, but Cops, I feel like it's just so repetitive. They never have anything new, and we've seen them all. Patrol Live is supposedly they're live within 8 different states, different departments. It surprises me how often people don't have licenses, or their registration is expired, or people can't pass the sobriety test, when even though we all know that supposedly it's one of the hardest things, even a person who's an officer can't pass it. But one of the episodes that really got me recently was someone called 911 from inside the house, and the officers go, of course, to do kind of like a welfare check. And nobody called 911 apparently in the house. So they're asking everybody to come out who lives there. Turns out the 8-year-old called 911 because the mom didn't let her do anything on the computer that she wanted to do. And he's like, well, who called 911? And the little girl's like in the back of the house. She's not coming out. And she's like, I have one more daughter, but I think she's like busy or something. And he goes, go get her. Like, I'm not going to stand here all day. Go get your child. She comes out and she's like, well, she wouldn't let me. He's like, stop calling 911 for non-911 emergencies.
I want to play Minecraft.
Right. And I'm like, oh, hell no. That would be my kid. You would be so... No. The way I was raised, let's just say there would be a spanking. I don't promote beating your children, but a good smack, that's fine.
It was always go ahead and call social services. It's going to take them a minute to get here.
So I like that. And then the guy who gave himself away at the parking lot, I would give that a popcorn in 3.
In 3. Cool. So, wow, that's honors. I was watching The Other Guys. I actually watched that right before I flew out. So a couple quotable lines. You've all seen it. It's obviously a poppin' 2. Yeah, probably shouldn't be made again today, but Michael Keaton obviously continuously quoting TLC and then continuing to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking. I don't know what's going on here.
So good.
You know? Goodbye, Sheila. All right, Terry. We'll see you later. Bye, Sheila.
Bye, Sheila.
All right, Terry. Yeah, go back inside the house. Bye, Sheila. You come home, you come into my home, you get my wife's name correct. Sorry, I butchered that one. You come into my home. That's so fantastic. You get my wife's name correct. And then when he visits his girlfriend or the girl he's broken up with, the ballerina, and she's dancing. Who the hell is this guy? We're dancing, Terry. If you were just with me, you wouldn't have to be in here in this club shaking it for all these dollar bills. Why'd you learn the ballet dance?
I love that when he's like, you think this is you think I can't do this? And he does like all the moves. He's like, this is lame. That's all. That's so funny.
We just did it to make fun of all the dudes that were dancing like that.
Yeah.
And then of course, I think probably other than I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly, the other most famous line, Gator don't play that.
Gator don't play
that. And aim for the bushes.
Oh man.
My last quotable is, oh, you think you're a big boy? You got your big boy pants on? With your big boy belt?
I say that a lot, or I have in the past.
I'm just not here for all the Prius shit talking. I love my Prius. Love my Prius.
Dirty Mike and the boys. They probably love your Prius too. We're gonna have sex in that car later. So obviously, like I said, Probably shouldn't get made again, but you know what? Popcorn and 2. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna feel bad about it probably, but you're gonna smile at most of the lines. Next, I watched The Old Man with the dude, Jeff Bridges, John Lithgow. Yes, and then some of you know her as Maybe from the show just left my brain. Arrested Development. Sorry, Maybe from Arrested Development. Aaliyah, I'm gonna say Shawkat. I'm gonna do my best. Aaliyah Shawkat.
Yeah, sure.
And it's funny because in the show she does poke fun at herself and how annoyed she gets with people talking about her freckles. And this crescendos in her punching her supervisor in the face for continuously calling her freckles. Now, the show, that's just a side note. That was not a spoiler. I would definitely say you have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and I have a pretty good idea as soon as the writer's strike ends of what they're going to put into season 2. But it's still worth the watch. It's still cool to see the dude getting his act on, being a BA, former CIA agent. They go back and forth because obviously he's not going to be able to move the way the younger character should, right? He's getting up there in age. But they do have a great actor playing his younger self. Yeah. John Lithgow is great in the show, and the two of them have amazing chemistry together as the 2 seasoned vets of the FBI. I gave it a popcorn and 2. I highly recommend it. It's only 7 episodes. Each episode's about an hour, so 7 hours of your day. You're just going to be pissed off that Hollywood's trying to take advantage of the writers when you get to the end of episode 7. That's the one thing.
That's just a great show. And then, like you said, Bridges. You think that we'd be tired of that old man who can still hack it kind of show?
Yeah.
Nope. But the way he delivers is totally different from what you'd see in Taken or what you'd see in maybe John Wick or whatever. Like, he does, he has a whole different recipe. And it's so good. And then Lithgow, fun fact, most awarded actor of all time. He's so wonderful.
Speaking of old guys who can still hack it, have we seen the trailer for Expendables 4?
Yes,
of
course.
God, yeah.
50 Cent.
No.
But so you saw it, Josh.
Yeah, I did see Old Man. I didn't see it in full. I saw probably about half the first season. I just love every bit of it, and I can't wait. You said season 2's on hold because of the strike.
The writer's strike. I googled it immediately, and the writer's strike has curved this. Rich people taking credit for other hardworking people's work is going to be a constant theme, and it's oh my gosh, it's so pathetic. And I know in a way we're contributing to that machine, but we are trying to build something at the Sad Fan. Just please pay these people, and you don't need to make 319 times your individual workers. All right, CEOs, you just don't need it. And that's where we're at right now. That's actually a stat from 2010. And it's just ridiculous. If you're telling your average employee that they make enough to live, then you can lower your salary and pay them more and still make enough to live. That's all I'm saying.
Jerk.
Next I watched Arnold, the documentary on Netflix. Obviously, I watched Fubar, gave it a review, wasn't great. But this is going to go on my soapbox again, is stop making these documentaries 3 episodes. A lot of what you put into it, I already knew. As far as this documentary is concerned, he's very open with his life. He allows you into his life. He is just one of those people that and he's very European. As now that I've been in Europe for a while, I get it now. He just acts the way a European would have acted here, not knowing the American customs or the American culture. So a lot of the difficulties he went through, other than the love child that he had during his affair, which he does talk about in this, I knew about all of it. Right? And I'm from California, so I knew about the Governator stuff. None of it was very new to me. It was way too long. I found the first episode was the most fascinating to me, and some of episode 2. I think this could have been an hour and a half and not 3 hours. He's a very interesting guy. You could definitely tell he had his fingers all over this, and I think there was a lot more to dig into that they didn't go deep enough in a lot of the interesting issues. Because he's a producer on it, I definitely think they allowed him to pull up on a lot of things he didn't want to get into. And I would have much rather learned more about that person.
No talking about Hercules in New York. He's renowned for
No, he does. He does talk about it. He does talk about that. But when it comes
he used to be really against
when it comes
interviews.
to steroids, though, he does it's such a quick gloss over.
Yeah, I think it's funny when they try to preserve as much as themselves as they can, even though they sign up for these deals where they're supposed to be fully transparent.
Yeah.
But that's why they sign up with them, is because they don't have to be fully transparent. They can still get paid. With the steroid stuff, he just very quickly glosses over it, and he goes, "Yeah, we took steroids. Everyone was doing it, but it was under the supervision of a doctor, very safe." And then that's it. That's all they say about it. And I'm kind of like, I would have liked to know more, but I do love the person. I love what he's trying to do. I love that he is trying to put good out into the world. His motto throughout this is just be useful. Do anything you can to be useful. You will live a long time if you just make yourself useful. Your days will go by fast. You will not be depressed if you find ways to be useful. And I like that message. Outside of that, I got into lifting weights because of obviously sports, but I watched Pumping Iron with my grandfather. Yeah, and I watched Arnold Schwarzenegger doing Pumping Iron, and I just fell in love with that culture, and I wanted to. I like looking a certain way, but I never did the steroids, so I could never look perfectly like that. But it is a release, and it is a meditation.
It's a really famous book, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Bodybuilding Encyclopedia from way back. It's a Bible-sized book. My dad had it, and he showed me the part where he talked about steroid use, and it's basically the same thing. But what else he said was, the stuff today is nothing like what they used to have. This is very dangerous stuff if you're not being careful. And he said in the beginning of it, you shouldn't do it at all unless you're competing for something, unless it's legal and it's part of a goal. If you're just doing it for your own personal aesthetics, then you're kind of wasting your time and your money and giving yourself a risk you don't need. But like I said, my dad had that book. He's also a bodybuilder, pretty serious his whole life. And he actually knew a guy that had like a photo, like I took a photo with Arnold. He used to be one of Arnold's workout buddies. He said Arnold used to carry around a trash bag to every station, and he didn't leave the gym until he left. He threw up 3 times.
That's just insane. Yeah. So Jordan,
this week I went on a little bit of a kick of watching some older movies that I haven't seen that everyone's like, oh, you have to see that. I had a list of those piling up, so figured I'd run through a few of those. This one I have seen many, many times. Love this movie, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I watched it on what did Lizette use? What term? Regular TV. Regular TV. Yeah. This one was just on TV, and I got sucked into it. Phoebe Cates is perfect. Wow. Sean Penn as Spicoli steals the movie. Every scene. You're just like, you're waiting for the next Spicoli line, the next scene. Yeah. And as we were kind of bantering in the group chat, there's no birthday party in here. One of the funniest lines in there. And you ripped my card, man. You dick. You love the characters, you hate the characters. It's all so relatable. You can kind of relate to everyone just a little bit. Or, you can really despise every character has that thing. You're like, oh my God, they're so annoying. So to me, it holds up very well. It's cheesy 80s though. Yeah. They all look way too old to be playing the characters that they're playing.
Like Grease.
Yeah. Way too old to be like high schoolers. Like the girl, the blonde girl, the main one is supposed to be 15 years old. And I'm like, girl, you look mid-20s. I give it a popcorn and 2.
A pop and 2.
Yeah.
All right.
I got to watching Heat on the recommendation of my brother. He'd been telling me for a long time to watch this movie. I was a little scared at first. I started it, I don't know, maybe last week. Press play. It's like 2.5 hours, a little bit over that. And I was like, nah, not today. But once it got going, the first 30 minutes, you're hooked. There's like that big heist scene where it goes wrong, as they almost always do. But this is one of the most star-studded casts you'll see, led by De Niro and Pacino.
De Niro.
It's, as I said, it's a heist movie, cops and robbers, cat and mouse, De Niro versus Pacino, both with scenes where they're aggressively making out with women, not each other, but still nobody wants to see Al Pacino aggressively making out with someone. He just doesn't have that vibe that you just know. It does. It's like, oh God. I never understand in what reality. There's always this thing in these movies where the detective and the guy, the main suspect, they like sit together in some type of setting, a diner or a bar, and they kind of taunt each other. It's like, it makes for great dialogue and great drama, but it's just like, arrest the guy. He's sitting there like more or less admitting the crimes. He's right there in front of you. Just take him for anything.
Enough already.
Yeah. Some of Al Pacino's dialogue is a little cheesy, a little corny.
Yeah.
But he's still, he's Al Pacino. He's still going to make it like, he's going to deliver it well no matter what. And one of my favorite lines when Al Pacino catches him and his wife going through some things, the whole detective with his marital problems, that old trope. You can bang my wife, hang out on the sofa, but you do not watch my television set. And it's like the television set that he's talking about is like, I don't know, the size of a laptop screen. And it's like got the rabbit ears on it, and he tries to smash it. And it's like such like just a brick. He can't even break it. He's like, throw it down, pick it up and throw it down again. The classic line from the movie, be prepared to walk out 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat coming around the corner. Popcorn 3 for this one.
The famous line from that movie is actually Al Pacino screaming out, "She's got a great ass."
Yeah.
Fun fact about Hank.
All the way up it.
Fun fact about Hank Azaria, when he says Jesus, that was ad-libbed. That was because Al Pacino was so pissed off. He had to do that take apparently like 20 to 30 times. Then on the 30th take, he just went full Al Pacino, and it caught Hank Azaria off guard, and literally he was just like, Jesus.
Shout out Hank Azaria. That's a pretty good movie. It's in the line of classics. I don't know if it's undersung, but it's not as widely popular as maybe a Goodfellas. And I think they're in the same area, but same ballpark. I like the diner scene, but I do totally buy into what you're saying. Like, maybe not necessarily arrest him, but this is totally a fantasy moment where the good guy and the bad guy get to have this tense talk. I mean, it's cool though. Like, I don't know, it's cool. Anyway, another stupid fun fact. You know that scene with Val Kilmer where he's fighting the cops in the streets. For a long time, if not still, it was used as in tutorial videos for cops. Cops used it in the shop to train for gunfights and how to properly reload and check your cover and all. Like he did such a good job that it's used in training videos.
That is interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
But to Jordan's point, no one wants to see Al Pacino make out with somebody else. And fun fact about Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro welcomed his 7th child recently at 70-something years old. And Al Pacino's actually going to be welcoming his 4th child at 83 years old. And their girlfriends are both in their 20s.
Yeah. Welcome to the road, kid. I'll be gone soon. Here's a bunch of money.
I'm like,
and a name you could make a bunch of money on.
Yeah.
This is a new one for me. I watched Animal House. I saw that it's been on my list for a while, and I saw that it will be leaving Netflix soon. So it's on Netflix, but I believe only to the end of June. So if you're interested in watching this, go check it out there. John Belushi, gone too soon. Some of us have some feelings about him. Troubled guy, but he's a physical comedy genius. He doesn't have too many lines, but just, his antics, his facial expressions, the way he moves through scenes, it's hilarious. You just get fixated on him anytime he's in it.
Chris Farley before Chris Farley.
Right. Yeah. You could definitely argue that. I've never been a club type guy or like a team guy. So at its core, I don't understand fraternities or any of that culture around it. It's just something kind of always to me is like to poke fun at. But, in the late 70s, college, I guess, was kind of like high school. And now, now it seems like it's all business. Yeah. You don't see or get away with this type of antics. I mean, obviously it's a movie, but there's all the hazing and those type of pranks and stuff on a college campus. Like, that hasn't been my experience, but I can't imagine that's
still very real, but the flagrancy of it. Yeah.
It's just a different life.
People die.
It's also the circles you run with. If you're not into it, you're not going to find yourself in those circles.
Maybe the college
not a lot of hazing, but the military party environment's very much like college. In like those movies.
Yeah.
I wrote in big bold letters, this movie does not happen today. Yeah. A lot of the humor is very cringe. It's like, oh God. There's the scene where young guy, the new the pledgee.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the word? Proper word?
Yeah,
Pledge.
the pledge.
Pledge.
The pledge.
He's got the girl up in the room, and she passes out, and the little devil is on his shoulders,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, do it, man! Don't do it." And I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah, this is supposed to be funny. Okay, Jesus.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it
Is
just
there a
doesn't.
hole I can retreat into? Like, oh,
Yeah, some of it's really, it makes your skin crawl.
Cringy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm on the college dean who's supposed to be the bad guy in the movie. I'm on his side the whole movie. These guys are disgusting. They're just like, they're awful. It's like, yeah, get these guys off of campus.
Yeah, put them in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite line from it is, "Fat, dumb, and drunk is no way to go through life."
That's very true.
I give this a popcorn and a beer.
Popcorn
and
and one.
beer.
And last but not least, Jordan.
I watched The Outsiders, also on Max.
Max.
Yep. And everyone knows the line, "Stay golden, pony boy."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a line that it's ingrained in you. I knew the line, and I had no concept of what it meant, but I knew it was like, this is an important piece of what? I mean, it was a book, right? So literature, American
Yes.
culture,
I had to read it.
pop culture, Step Brothers, after
Yeah.
the bathroom scene, "Stay golden, pony boy." This is a young all-star cast: Ralph Macchio, Matt Dillon, who I don't really care for, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, Emilio, the mighty Dustman, Diane Lane, yeah, Diane Lane, Leif Garrett, just on and on and on.
Machio.
The Karate Kid. Diane Lane's acting. I don't know if this is her dialogue. They didn't write it very well, but you get hung up on some of her, a little bit of her delivery. But hey, give her some credit. She's surrounded by all these heavy hitters. She's young,
Mm-hmm.
She does okay with a lot of the dialogue in this movie is just it's very cheesy, very simplistic to me. You wouldn't think so because it's coming from a book, but surprise, Flea is in this movie. He
Yeah.
plays one of the Socs. I was
He's
super kind of like, wait a minute, is that Flea?
Yeah,
Always love and gotta point out a Flea cameo.
Flea.
Like I said, this is cheesy to the max. This is a cheese grater right here. The score of the movie, whoever did the score, it doesn't fit. It's like cheesy,
Yeah, 80s.
like just these piano ballad synthy, and it's just like in the most random weird spots. It's like it just takes you out of it. It adds to the more cheese, keeps piling it on. The plot's very shallow. I don't see the people's love for it. I give this.
It's a class war, bro. That's what
I-
the love is. It's a class war. It's the haves versus the have-nots.
And Pony Boys.
And Pony Boys, yeah, and soda pops. I give it a popcorn and a beer.
Right on. What was our super fun and happy and jovial drunk classic?
So I tried to tie it into our butter on top. So I went with robots. We went animated this week, kept it light. This is on Max, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So check it out on Max. It starts out hilarious. It comes out the gate just getting you with, "My baby's being delivered today," and he's literally, the baby comes in a box.
Yes.
And the wife, the mom, making the baby's the fun part. And he's like, "I don't need instructions." And he's like, "Wait a minute, we wanted a boy, right?" At the end, he forgot a part. This has a surprisingly stacked cast as well for voiceovers, and it's just in like the smallest little menial parts. Like, gosh, someone really big just plays like mailbox, and he has one line.
That's funny.
So yeah. If you want a trip, just check out the what's the word I'm looking?
Cast
The filmography of this, just to see like, oh wow, that guy's in this. It's surprising some of the gets they got for this one. The animation is top notch, still holds up. This movie came out in 2004, I believe. but it's better than some things that come out this year. You know, the hamster ball transportation scene where they're flying through the air to get from one time. It's like, it looks terrifying, but I'm like, you know what? This still seems safer than Bart.
Put your head between your legs, kid.
Yeah, if you're not from the Bay Area, that's our transit system.
Yeah, it's like
Super
our subway.
dangerous. Yeah, Google it. Bart horror stories. You'll be shocked. But it's like, I'd take the hamster ball
Or
over
Bart
that.
any day.
Yeah, because the hamster ball, you're only probably going to get stuck with one crackhead. On Bart, you're going to get stuck with 40.
Oh man, and one of my favorite lines is, "Hey, don't bother him. He's got his own dreams that won't come true." But it's a total analysis of capitalism gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to give this a popcorn and 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's
Shouts out
timeless. I
DreamWorks,
think it's great. Yeah.
I gave it a popcorn and 2. I just note I miss Robin, and then I put I miss Amanda. She had a moment because Amanda Bynes did have a moment. She's the man.
Yeah.
All those she had those rom-com moments, those teenage rom-coms that were she just was rolling through. The Amanda Show.
Yeah.
She had
She's
a moment,
huge.
right?
She's huge.
Me
All
and
that
Liz
with
had
like
Me and Liz loved Amanda's show growing up. I'm going to hit you in the head with a fish. Knock, knock. Who's there?
Yeah.
A fish. Fish. I'm going to hit you in the head with a fish.
so
Dang.
those were my notes. Yeah. Speaks to humanity is also what I put. It speaks to humanity and where we're at, and how instead of we have all the tools to help each other, but there's no profit in helping each other. So why would
Right.
we do that?
Right.
And all parents really want, no matter what their status is for better for their children.
Yeah.
So yeah, even in robot world, that's all they want. So I gave it a pop and 2. Liz, what about you?
I did watch it like a while ago. I probably have to rewatch it just so that way I can remember a lot of the stuff, or that way it can come back to me. But I agree with, I would rather be in the hamster ball instead of being a Bart. Definitely can agree with that. Because I mean, the guy who's cradling the jacket that's his baby on the Bart's kind of concerning because you just don't know when he's gonna snap. It's just, I'd rather be in the hamster ball. Anything with Robin Williams, I think right now, like you still miss him, so it kind of sucks when you see his work, but you feel good. I saw something on, I think it's like ID, where they do background on artists that have passed. And I didn't know that he and Christopher Reeves were actually really good friends, and that he paid for a lot of Christopher Reeves' medical bills prior to Christopher Reeves dying. And he actually visited him in, there's a story that the family said that he was like, he came in dressed like a doctor, had a mask on, and he grabbed a glove and he just went snap, and he goes, "Okay, so are you ready?" And Christopher Reeves instantly got like scared, and he's like, "It's a special check. You're good." And he's like, no. Like, no. And he goes, "It's just me." And he took off his mask and he was just joking around. So I would definitely like to rewatch Robots.
A little bit of Patch Adams in all of us. A little bit of Patch Adams in all of us. Let's see here. So our butter on top this week is one that if we had been doing this show for 10 years, probably would have been a butter on top in like 1 week out of every year. Because there is no shortage of Transformers films. I will say really quick with my review, I gave it a popcorn and 1. There was a lot about it. It is definitely a redeemable movie. It was so geared towards children. There was not a ton of adult humor. Every joke was geared towards a child. Like, not a joke for the parents at all to me. I was like, there's not even one joke for parents in this. Like, it's all kids jokes. Like, 100%. Every joke they told, even when the adults are talking, it was a children's joke. And I was like, come on, man. Like, this is so like, I get it, Michael Bay. You're probably a terrible person that's done on record, allegedly, some bad things to some extra cast members. But, like, this is so antiseptic that I was like, come on. These jokes aren't even funny. Like, a 2-year-old would have laughed at that. And I know one of the people on the cast today is going to give it a good review, so I apologize. I'm not talking about you. If you laughed, you're fine. You're still an adult.
I did laugh, but I did not give it a good review.
Yeah, so Optimus Primal made me smile right away from Beast Wars. 1994 threw me off. I was like, what the hell, 1994? How is this even going to be possible? Because the first thing when it shows Anthony Ramos, I'm like, he's way too old. Like, you can't be this old in 1994. And then I realized, oh, they're doing it based off of Haley Steinfeld's Bumblebee. It's the sequel to Bumblebee. I realized that during Bumblebee's first interaction with Optimus Prime. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see. They're taking it all the way back so they can progress it forward from here. The line that made me laugh very much is, it's a key. If he gets the key, he'll eat every single planet. That's how they start off this dialogue. Then Anthony Ramos says, if you get this, we could save the planet. Then the Hawk says, you could save at least 2 planets. And I'm like, you started all this dialogue by he will eat every planet. So wouldn't it save every planet if he doesn't? Like, it was
2.
I was like, what is going on? Like, literally, the whole dialogue started with every planet, and now we're down to 2. So I was so, like, the dialogue, the writing was not top notch. Played homage in the battle at the very end to the Beast Wars intro. I don't know if you remember the intro to the original Beast Wars cartoon where they're all running at each other to fight. Yeah, so you got some homage in that. The museum employee, everyone can relate to that. Someone taking advantage of their work. But yeah, at the end of the day, though it had a lot of redeemable qualities, it wasn't it wasn't a great movie. I'll give it a popcorn and 1.
Nice. Transformers, surprisingly not banned in Florida. Bad joke, sorry. The soundtrack is great. 90s, 94, best year in human history, because the year I was born.
No.
The actors were good, even the little kid. You know, like you said, the dialogue as it's written is corny, but I feel like the actors
did their best.
You know, pulled their weight. They did an okay job. I got a game for you. Drink every time they say Brooklyn. Yeah, every time something good happens, it's like Brooklyn. That's the.
Thank God we have Ryan Coogler for the Bay Area,
right?
Because if we didn't have Ryan Coogler, it'd all be like New York, Hollywood. I'm like, there are other places, everyone.
Yeah. One thing that really threw me off, what are they called? The beast. What are the animal transformers actually called in the movie?
Maxitrons or
Maximals.
Maximals.
And I kept thinking of Danimals the whole But one thing that really took me out of it is, like, they have fur and feathers, but they're metal.
Yeah.
And from a different planet.
I was like,
And from a different planet.
It's like, I don't get it.
Somehow they look like Earth's animals, and they're not from Earth. Because it starts with them looking like Earth's animals, not on Earth.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of new stuff that they're introducing to the Transformers universe with very little exposition. Like, none at all. It's just like, these things look cool. They're here, accept it. But, I mean, they do look pretty cool, most of them. Except for the Mega Man suit.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not giving away some kind of Easter egg that fans of Transformers know about, or something that, you know, it is so stupid. I was like, that's when I was like, I could leave this movie right now and not see the ending and be okay, I think.
I also feel like if he put on that suit, that BA evil robot could have just still stepped on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a fifth of his size. Pete Davidson did a pretty good acting job. You know, the ending was very confusing to me. I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't get it. But apparently, all you need to do to get adequate medical coverage is save the world from giant plant-eating alien robots.
At least 2 worlds.
From America, at least. From America, at least.
That's the moral of the movie. Most of the CG was cartoonishly bad, especially the green screening with the actual human actors. You have to be like, okay, they're trying to pull off a lot here. You know, it's a all CG movie. There's a mid-credit scene, so stick around, watch that. It's pretty good. Popcorn and a beer for me as well.
So I'm a little bit nicer than you guys because I would have given it a popcorn in too. But I think that's because I like the differences that were made in this film prior to Revenge of the Fallen. And I'll get into that in just a minute. So the beginning fight scene, I think it could have been a little bit longer. I feel like when you're like, I'm going to distract these guys so that way you have time to get away. I felt like it just could have been a little bit longer and a little bit more intense, but it was still okay. I did expect a little bit more. The soundtrack, again, it was really, really good. I did like the soundtrack a lot. It kind of brought me back to my dad's beat up Honda that Jordan and I just absolutely hated, that ugly brown Honda Civic. I'm glad he got rid of it. The putter, yeah. I was like, putter. Oh no. Why am I thinking of that ugly car right now? But it was just, it really, really made me feel like those times. So it brought me back to being like 10 or 12. For all of the other people that speak Spanish, huepa for the Puerto Ricans, when you see the Puerto Rican flag in his room, that was actually really cool because in Revenge of the Fallen, Ramon Rodriguez, who plays Leo, was not allowed to have any display of that in his dorm room. He was only allowed to have tech stuff and geeky stuff. So I thought that was interesting. And they told him to dumb down not dumb down, but lessen the ethnicity part. Even though he was supposed to be like of mixed race in that film. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I did really, really like some of the comedic one-liners, such as like, work friends, you were inside me. Like that.
That one did make me laugh. That one did make me laugh.
Like, wait, what? So that one made me laugh. I did chuckle on that one. Also, the robot who had the accent, not knowing he had an accent. That's very true in a lot of communities. Yeah, he's a Mexican actor. I forgot what his name is though.
He's Danny from Ted Lasso.
Okay, yeah.
Football Danny is life. Lasso, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really like, that got me because I know a lot of people who have an accent who don't hear their accent. So that made me chuckle. I like that there wasn't a cliche moment where they end up together, Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fisherman, or Fishman. They don't end up together. That made me feel good, but that also kind of goes against what a lot of, Black female artists go through in movies. They typically don't get the guy in a lot of movies. So that kind of like made me feel contradicting. And so like, I'm like, oh, cool, no cliche, but dang, she didn't get the guy. So it was just kind of that. And then I did like Pete Davidson's character Mirage. I thought that was actually really, really funny. Anthony Ramos, for being someone who does musical theater a lot, I like the fact that he did really well here. He broke away from a lot of the fundamentals of acting that you're taught, as Dominique actually was following some of them, and I could see that. But I think it's because I studied theater. So like your back being towards the camera, you could see that he was kind of letting go of the rule, which means don't let it last too long. You have to like face the camera so that way he can actually do the, protecting or whatever from the explosions that were going on. But overall, I enjoyed it. I like the representation. I think we need more of it. And going to your point with the writing, I think that's why writers need to be paid more than what the actors are making, because
or at least on the same playing field. At least on the same. At least.
Because then you're gonna get stuff where you could see potential in the writing, but it's not fully there. So, I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I like that I got a little poster when I went to the movies. So I would get a popcorn in too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've run a little long, and we appreciate all of you. I'm gonna give us a quick wrap, if that's all right with the crew. Please go check out Let's Hablar with Lizette or Let's Hablar Solita with Lizette. If you were following us and you were trying to keep up with all the movies we are watching, next week's Butter on Top will be the Flashpoint Paradox. And I went through it thinking of this drunk classic because I did so many things with Arnold. I was like, do we do True Lies? Is this the week I drop True Lies on him? No, it's not. Father's Day is coming up. Is this the week I drop Red Dawn on him? The original, Charlie Sheen. No, it's not. It's the end of the world as we know it because we're all trying to figure out how to fight each other on every single little thing, and we need to come together. So this is not by any means an amazing film. It's not a world beater. It's not going to win any Oscars ever. In fact, it didn't. But I'm going to put you guys on to watch Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. with Steve Carell and Keira Knightley.
Good movie.
Okay.
Never seen it, but I'll see.
Steve Carell.
If you're keeping up with this, check it out. For everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you each and every week. If you're following the Sad Fan on Instagram or Poppin' Beers on Twitter, I almost said TikTok. We're not at TikTok yet. We're working on it. Or if you're following Lizette at her tag, as you see it on the screen, and I will tag it above her name here when we get going. Please, please, please know that we do this for you. We need your suggestions. We need your comments, and we will keep going. And as always, we'll see you at the movies. You bring the beer. We got the popcorn.
Bye.